Hey everybody, what's going on, awesome people? You know what? I will say week 3 going into it, there's not a lot of games that stand out. I think we have a little bit of a backseat this week where it's like we had a lot of awesome matchups in the first 2 weeks, especially coming off of the Alabama versus Texas game. I think this is the wrap-up week of, hey, non-conference games where we have, Pitt, West Virginia, Michigan State, Washington, before we begin conference play next week, and the games really count, if that makes sense. So let's just hop into the video. So here are 5 games that I think we should highlight this week. Number 1, we got South Carolina going to Georgia. Quickly, I think the easy pick would be, hey, Georgia. Georgia's going to win. I think, though, it's the Bulldogs' first real competition of the season so far. They've been playing, low-end teams. But also, I do think this game, if Georgia slips up early and somehow South Carolina is able to get a lead and then they somehow shock the world and win this game, I do think this will have SEC East implications because, it's Tennessee and Georgia. That third team, I would say, yes, is South Carolina, but it's like winner of Tennessee, Georgia will probably go and play in the SEC title game. But the safe pick is, it's going to be Georgia versus Alabama or Georgia versus Alabama because Nick Saban's not going to miss 2 SEC championships in a row. All right, next game is Tennessee in the Swamp, and everybody's already written off Florida, but for me, I look at it, this is an easy trap game. Going into the Swamp is a hard thing to do. It doesn't matter if they're 0-1, 0-2, 3-0. Playing in the Swamp is a tough place. And so I think it's a great start for both of these teams in SEC play. And I think personally, Tennessee is a little bit behind Florida competition-wise because of Florida going all the way to Salt Lake and playing the Utes. And so I think they'd be a little bit more ready and they'll take the first punch against the Volunteers. But I think Volunteers will settle in and then punch back and then probably win the game. Washington at Michigan State. I think this will be the game of the day because a lot of people will circle the Pitt West Virginia game, but I don't think as many eyes will watch it as they watch this one. I think this is a road test for the Washington Huskies, but this is also a test for the Spartans as well to see, okay, how is this season going to fare out? One of these teams is going to lose, and their season could derail for the rest of the 2023 campaign. But I think competition-wise, it's the first real game for both of them to play where it's like, okay, these guys can hang around and they can play some football. I think it's going to be a gritty game. They're going to keep Penix at bay. His overall record is 2-1 right now against Michigan State. I think they even it up at 2 apiece because his last win, that was at home though. This is on the road. I think Michigan State is also a hard place to play. Then, we've heard the stories of how Coach Tucker isn't there anymore, and so it's like, how will the Spartans bounce back for that? I think they're just going to run through a brick wall now, try to get through the distractions that's been surrounding them for the past few days, and they're going to come out and they're going to just dominate. Or come out looking like a mess and a JV squad out there on the gridiron. There's no in between. It's either those 2 options. We got Pitt versus West Virginia. This has revenge game written all over it for West Virginia in the backyard brawl. And I think with how the game ended last year, where it was a close, tight game, neither of the quarterbacks are there. Slovis is at BYU and JT Daniels is at Rice. So we got 2 new quarterbacks running the show. I think Green's going to rip it loose and that offense is going to get going. Hopefully. Last game I watched out of the Mountaineers, they played Penn State where they were in it. But I think that experience and being in that kind of game will help push them over Pitt because Pitt hasn't. Pitt's got smacked around by Cincinnati, but it'll be a good game, hopefully. We've got Colorado State against Colorado, and I think this would have been a close game. In-state rival, here we go. Doesn't matter the records. But then Colorado State's coach decided to run his mouth a little bit. And I think it's so funny because it's like, this is the last team. Nick Saban, Ed Orgeron doesn't coach anymore, so it doesn't matter. Same with Kirby Smart, but it's like, these are the last coaches you want to talk a little bit of smack to before the game because now a close game, this is going to be a blowout, and I'm saying it right now. Colorado State, from the games that I have watched over the years, because usually they play in week 0 where they'll play Oregon State or Boise State, a Mountain West team or a MAC team. I haven't seen Colorado State win a football game. In the 2-3 games that I've watched in my whole life, Never have they won. I think Coach Prime's going to show how an adult coaches a football team and gets a win, and I think Colorado State's become public enemy number 1, and I think they're going to get absolutely smoked tomorrow night. Those are my picks and the top games of the week that I think so far. No big QB showdowns just yet, but I think, hey, after this Colorado game, Nix and Sanders, that's going to be a big game. Catch you in the next video. Peace.